Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. Get back to the gas station. I'm going to do a little update for you and talk about septics. I had hoped, I was out at the cabin this weekend and I had hoped of being able to do a live stream Saturday night. But Gail decided to come out Saturday and spend the night with me. And it was her first time out there since I got electric. And now she's like all in on it now, because with the electric, a refrigerator, microwave, a toaster, the griddle and the grill. I mean, she made a good breakfast on the griddle outside on the porch. So, now she likes it. I don't think Gail's gonna be much of a prepper wife. She ain't on that kind of living, just in case. As long as I do it all, we're okay. But yeah, she spent the night Saturday, and now she's gonna go out there Friday. When I go out Saturday morning, she's gonna come back in. She's gonna take one of the dogs out with her Friday night, spend the night, and then I'll go out Saturday. But yeah, leave it to a woman to mess up my plans. I had my weekend getaway that was just mine, but those days are gone. I made it too comfortable. I need to unplug that extension cord. I don't know what happened to the electric, dear. But anyway, I mean, it was good having her out there. She ought to see it once in a while. All right. So, not much else going on. I mean, it's cold as hell right now. 32 degrees, snowing. Last week, we were in the 70s. So we got a couple of weeks of cold, rainy weather again. So I don't know how much I'm going to get done. So let's get into it. Let's talk about septic systems and how Joe has absolutely no idea what he's talking about. Even though he likes to act like he knows everything, once in a while he doesn't know something. Many of you know I had estimated around $4,000 or $5,000. I mean, 5 was on the very high end. So, the steps you have to go through, I'll remind you, you have to get the soil scientist out there. He has to go over the whole land, figure out what, how the soil, he does his report. That's $600, right? Then you get a hold of the health department. They send you this form you have to fill out, and they send out somebody to do a site survey. They look at the report from the soil scientist, and they tell you what kind of septic system you can put in. There's one of 3 different kinds that can be installed. Now, fortunately, the soil scientist was kind enough to tell me we can put the cheap system in. The inexpensive one. We don't have to have an aeration system or something. I have a big enough area for a leach field. Now mine is just a little one bedroom house, 1 bathroom. That's it. So my leach field will consist of 3 lines, 75 feet long, 2 active, 1 rest. That's it. Right? Not a huge thing. So I was happy to hear that. Well, I send that report, into the health department. They do their thing. They tell me what kind of system I can put in. Now, I have 1 of 2 options. I can get a hold of a contractor off of their list. They have a list of people who are permitted to do septic systems in Guernsey County. They can come out, design the system I need. I take that to the health department, and I can get my permit. Now that costs about $500 for the design. If I don't want to go that route, I can have the county come out. They'll do the site survey. They will design the system for me that will get me the permit, because whatever the installer designs has to be approved by the county. Well, the county can design it. That and the permit is another $600. Before I can even start with a shovel. So I found all this out last week. I called my friend Donnie out in Zanesville. He's not on the list in Guernsey County. He does septic systems in his county, so he knows how it's done. And I was talking with him, and he said, you know, you can expect that to cost you $12,000 to $15,000. I'm like, no way, not that little ass system. I had a couple people commenting, telling me I was underestimating the cost of the septic, and you were right, because Joe was way wrong. So I've got the list from the county of who I can call. I called 4 people. The cheapest one that I could get to give me they give me ballpark figures. I explained to them, I sent them the site map that the soil guy did and the report. They get an idea what they're doing. The cheapest I got was $12,000 to $15,000. There's no way. I'm like, goodness gracious. $15,000 for a little ass 1-tank septic system. It's insane. So I'm like, okay, there's no way I can do that. That's like game over. I cannot spend $15,000 on a septic system in order to build my house. So I keep researching, keep trying to do this stuff, Well, Donnie gave me the name and phone number of the place where he buys all of his stuff for septics. He said, call them, tell them the size of your system, tell them this information. They'll give you the cost to buy all of the material. So, it's a tank, 1,000-gallon tank, because that's a minimum the state will let you have. The distribution box, the 3 lines, leach lines, they do a different thing. I forget what it's called, but it's not the PVC with the holes in it and gravel. It's a different deal that only goes down a few inches. So it's supposed to make it a lot cheaper and easier. So she priced it all. My biggest expense, actually, almost as much as the cost of the tank, is I have to go about 200 feet to the distribution box. And that's 4-inch schedule 40. $52 a stick. I need 20 sticks just for that. So there's an extra $1,000 there. If I had it to where I could come out of the house to the tank, to the distribution box 10 feet down the road, and then the leach field, that would save me $1,000, but it doesn't work out that way. So she priced everything out. And I didn't realize, because the Schedule 40 is $52 a stick, that I only need 10 feet of that. Then I can put a thing on the end of it, a collar, and switch to Schedule 35 to go the rest of the way to the distribution box, which is good. Because there's like a $10 difference per stick, $12 difference per stick. So that's, 9 sticks or 20 sticks saves me, $500 or $600 that route. But anyway, with everything, including $500 for miscellaneous L's and street L's and T's and, all this kind of stuff. Glue, it's coming out around $4,300 for all of the material. I'm like, okay, the materials are going to cost $4,300, and you want $15,000 to install it. Hi there.
Hi. 10 on number 3, please.
10 on 3, you got it.
Thank you.
Yep.
I didn't know if you were open or not.
Oh yeah. Well, lights are on.
Yeah.
Just nobody's home. So anyway, yeah, $10,000 to do the installation. I understand how businesses work. I understand the cost of your equipment, maintenance, your gas, and your labor. I can rent an excavator for $300 for a day, right? I don't need to make $5,000 that day for my labor. Even if I had to pay $5,000 for an excavator and me do the work, I think that's a little steep. But that's just me. I could be wrong. So we talk about it. I'm like, all right, let me see what I can do, because I cannot pay $15,000 to put in a septic system so I can build my house. It just throws a monkey wrench into everything. So now I got the price of material. I keep digging a little further. Well, guess what? In Guernsey County, I heard that you can take a test, take a class, take this test, pay $65.
I'll pump the egg on that.
I do.
10.
10 on it?
Yeah.
You got it, bud. 4. Prepay. 10. Pay. 10.
Thank
There you go, bud.
Have a good one.
Yep. So anyway, you take this test and you can do owner install system. Like, all right, let me check into this. I call the health department back, and she said, oh yeah, it's an online test. It's an open book test. There is no class. You just take the test, you pay a $65 fee, and you're certified for a sewage system installer. I'm like, okay, so I can do that myself now. I had to do that with the electric. I learned all about electric so I could install my own electric at St. Bernard Acres. Well, I guess I'm gonna learn to be a septic system installer. But the way we're gonna do it, I talked again to Donnie. He said, look, get the stuff. I'll come out, get your permit. I'll come out over the weekend. I'll charge you $1,000. And we will dig everything. We will install everything as far as they know you're doing it yourself. They don't have to know I'm doing it. He said, we'll take a couple of pictures of you on the excavator, and when they come out there and inspect it, we'll throw some mud on you. So it looks like you've been working. But yeah, so I mean, that's obviously the route I've got to go. It's still going to cost me $6,000, $7,000 by the time everything is done with all the permitting and inspections. They got to come out after I do it all. They got to come out and inspect it, and then I can backfill it all and have a legal county-approved septic system. And then I get $5,000 back from the electric company, $5,100 back from the electric company, once I have the septic system done. So it's not as bad as it could be, but it's a whole lot more than what I thought it was going to be. And I'm telling you, that's the number one thing. I have said this over and over and over and over again, and I will say it forever. Learn how to do this stuff and do it yourself anytime you have that opportunity. Because I will do it myself by learning it and cut my cost in half at least. So, just think, if I had hired an electric company, an electrician, to run all that electric for me that I was able to do by myself, just think how much that would cost. And that's all money I didn't have to spend. Because I live in a county that didn't require an inspection. I had to get a permit But once I get the permit, I didn't have to have it inspected. So I was able, with my friend who taught me a lot and helped me, figure out how to do everything, we got it done. That's the trick. Learn everything you can. If you want to be a prepper and you want to get your bug out location ready, or you want to get your homestead ready for when SHTF happens, you're not going to be calling anybody. You don't want to be in a position where you have to depend on somebody to come and do something for you. Hang it up. You learn it. That's how it's got to work, right? By the time I'm done out there, I'm going to know how electric systems work. I'm going to know how to do all the electrical work. I know how all the solar works. I did all of it myself, maintained it, replaced parts. I did everything with solar. All my plumbing I'm doing. And now my own septic system. So you learn and you save a whole lot of money that way, and you can feel a whole lot more comfortable knowing if something goes wrong, you can take care of it. Right? That's what that's the only reason why I do this YouTube channel, is try to convince people of that. You can do anything, right? Now, I don't want to do anything that is going to get me in trouble later on down the road, right? I could put in a septic system and not tell anybody, right? But if they find out I did that, then I'm going to face fines. I'm going to face all kinds of trouble. So don't take that chance. Just do it the legal way. It might delay your plans. It might cost you extra, but do it the right way. Now, this guy, I'm meeting one of the people out there tomorrow, 11 o'clock. So he can firm up a quote for me. I'm obviously not going to pay him to do it, but he also does water wells. I'm going to need a well. So I will keep him around for that. I want to make the meeting, And then my idea of how to put it in, he can at least confirm, yeah, this is what you have to do, because he'll tell me this is what you're going to have to do. As far as maybe I can place the tank in a different place and save some money, whatever. But like I said, I also am going to need a well done once we move out there. And I told him the well was over across the property line, and sent him the report from the county on when the well was drilled and installed, so he could get an idea of what it was. I know I talked to Ed and to find out what he paid just last year to have the well done, so I could get a closer idea of what it was going to cost. Ed went down over 300 feet, 350 feet, 360 feet, something like that. I have less than 100 feet. The well that was done was 100 foot. It has 80 feet of casing. And so that's all I need. The water table's that high out there. And Bobby's not using that well. We don't know how good it is. I bought a submersible pump to run off the generator, just 110. He said, yeah, hook that up. Yeah, let's use that well. If you want to drop that thing in there, I can use that well as long as I want to. I mean, I don't want to depend on that, because he at some point may die. He may sell the place. I mean, who knows? But I could use it temporarily until I get my own. And, it's like $3,500 to come out and set up and do the first 50 feet. Then it's like $25 a foot after that. So you figure $3,500 to set up and 50 feet, another $2,500 for the next 50 feet. And, well, it wouldn't even be that much. $25 a foot, yeah. Times 50 feet. So it'll be another $1,250 or so to go another 50 feet. And that included the casing, the backing, the pump, everything was in that price that Ed worked off of. So I'm guessing this year it's going to be about the same, maybe a little bit more. That's going to get done after I sell the house here in Wheeling. So I don't know, folks. It's just so expensive. I'm telling you. And the states and the government is making it harder and harder and harder on people. They do not want anybody to be self-reliant, self-sustained, right? Everything has to depend on them. That's what they're trying to do to us. They're passing so many laws in Ohio. Ohio's a friendly state for off-grid. I mean, it's not that bad. It's not as bad as some places. And in my county, in where I am in the county, it's $5 for the permit to build my house. And that's it. There are no inspections and I don't have to have plans drawn up or anything like that. I pay the $5 and I build my house. You know, the only thing the state does require is septic, and they inspect it annually. They do not allow composting toilets. And I think one of the reasons they don't allow it, how you know they don't allow it, because you have to put in a gray water septic system. You have to do something with the gray water, right? So you're spending the money anyway doing the gray water. Why not do the whole friggin' thing? You know, and the gray water is there's a whole bunch of. I was looking it up just in case, but at this particular thing, you're allowed 60 gallons per day that you can put into it. Or this plan, you're allowed 200 gallons per day. It's ridiculous what they make you go through. But I think I can get the septic done. Now I'm looking at, maybe $6,000, $7,000 for a septic system. Still not the best, but it's better than what I was thinking. Or it's less than what a company will charge me to do. As much of it as now I could rent an excavator for $300 for the day and dig it out myself and put it all in. The only problem would be with the leach fields, they have to be perfectly level, and he said the county will bring out a laser level to make sure that those 75-foot runs, the three of them, are flat and level. That's, everything else can be on a slope or has to be on a slope pretty much. But once it comes out of that distribution box, then they have to be flat and level. So then they come out and check that shit. But, that's the kind of stuff you have to put up when you're going to go buy some raw land and try to deal with it, So yeah, I don't know. I'm going to continue building the house. I don't have to have the septic system in place to build the house. I'm going to confirm with the installer tomorrow that yes, I certainly can place a tank here, and I can place a distribution box here, and I can place these leach field lines where my soil scientist suggested that they go. And, once he says, yep, you can do that here, blah, blah, blah. Once I build the house, I can just, bring up the line to the house. I won't have to have it in before I build the house. But I want that to be the first thing done after the shell is built. Because the very first thing I want in that house, the first room that's going to get finished is the bathroom. So that we have a shower and a flush toilet and a sink. The bathroom will be the first room finished. But as soon as I get the shell done, then I will get the septic run. And I'll use water. I'm going to get a couple of the totes, a couple of the food grade totes that are cleaned out, put the pump in Bobby's well, hook up to the generator, turn it on, fill up my totes, and turn it off. That's it. And then Bobby can bring his tote down from his cabin, fill up his tote, and take it back up to his cabin. Mine, fortunately, is close enough. I can just run a hose over to it, run a line to it, and be done with it. If I went through all the trouble of the pressure tank and all that kind of shit, I wouldn't even have to mess with that. I'd just have running water out of his well. But I want to wait till I have my own well, put in the tank and the valves and the filters and all that kind of stuff. It won't be drinking water. Although it is clear, I mean, the well was approved by the county when it was put in. So it's good water, but I won't be drinking it so much until I have all the filters and everything in place and I have my own well. But yeah, that's my update, and that's how I'm gonna go with the septic system. But you cannot, let me tell you this, do not listen to some of these guys that get on here and they build their own systems and they build it. You can do this, you can do that, you know. You cannot do that kind of stuff anywhere, right? They don't play around when it comes to wastewater and sewage water, even gray water systems, you know. I could get in trouble if I really, you know, my sink empties into a bucket. I got a bucket underneath. I don't have any plumbing from the cabin going out. I've got the rain catchment that I use for water, but I use a bucket under the sink and I dump that bucket out. I could easily run a hose, run a line from the sink out of the cabin and out onto the property wherever. But that's not legal. That you can get in trouble for if you're caught, you know. So I prefer the things that could get me in trouble. I prefer to do legally. You know, I am not one of those guys who's gonna, I want to come and try to stop me. Yeah, try to set foot on this property. Bullshit. I am not one of those guys. I'm sorry. But I am going to do the septic while we got the excavator out there. I'm going to bury a tote and run the plumbing for the cabin so I can put a flush toilet in the cabin. That I don't need a permit for. I'm just going to do that. A little tiny leach field back behind the cabin. And we'll leave that one alone. Because, you know, once I build the house and move into it, the cabin will be for guests. So they may as well have running water in the cabin. Let's see what else is happening. That's about it. I'm ready to start moving forward with the house building the walls, getting all that stuff ready. I'm going to go ahead and get Donnie out there right away to level out my spot, put the gravel down the pad for the house, and start taking block out there and getting that part ready too. I'm still hoping Memorial Day weekend to build a shell. That's still the plan. The only drawback to that is coming up with the money for the trusses and the roof, because I'm looking at another $3,000 or $4,000 for that. The plan was to take the money from have the septic done, take the money from the electric company that I get back, the $5,100, and pay for all that. Well, I'm not getting that back now in time. I'm now get it after I spend $6,000 or $7,000 on a septic system. Then I'll get that $5,100 back. But I have to pay for all this stuff before Memorial Day weekend. So, and with the cost of everything, now I'm building my own trusses. I got to buy my own 2x4s, and I'll just set up a little assembly line in the barn, a pattern thing, and make all my own trusses. But I still have to buy all the metal for the roof. Who knows? I mean, that's, you know, the way things are going right now, I have no idea what's going to happen. It's too difficult to make plans. In this day and age, you do it now, or next week's going to be completely different. Whatever you planned on doing, you're going to have to change those friggin' plans because it's not going to work out. Man, I was like, over the weekend, once I found that out, when I found out today it was going to cost $13,000 minimum, it's like, forget it. Sell St. Bernard Acres is worth a lot more money now than it was when I bought it. So we'll make a nice chunk of change if I sold it. And maybe look for 2 or 3 acres that has a single wide on it, or a small house that needs fixed up, but that already has a septic system and already has electric to it, you know, and save the headache. You know, I call it a headache, but it's fun though, you know. Doing all this electric, I had fun with, you know. Building this house, I'm going to have fun with it. The question is, can you afford it? Have you got time to do it? You know, I don't know. I was like, okay, let's get the shell built. If I finish the shell Memorial Day weekend, then I can put my house up here for sale without fixing it up or anything. Just take $30,000 for it and be happy. There's my septic. There's my well. Everything is done then. You know, I don't have to try to save up money. That I've been spending everything I had saved up. But yeah, you never know what's going to happen. You don't. There's just no way of knowing. You can't make solid plans. I'm just tired. I really am. I'm excited. I love it, but I'm tired too. That's why I'm not making any videos either. I just, you know, I got to get back into it. Maybe if spring actually hit, you know, tomorrow's first day of spring, I think. Tomorrow, Thursdays, Friday, I don't know. First day of spring. And maybe, you know, it was fun this weekend. I actually had weather I could work in. Gail was out there, and that picked up the spirits a little bit. But anyway, hope y'all get something out of this. I hate to gab on, but, you know, once I get started, boys, you can't stop me. But I just wanted to give you some information and things that y'all need to think about when you're putting your plans together for your homestead or your bug out location or whatever you want to call it. If you want to buy raw land, these are the things you have to deal with. And it takes money. God dang, man. And I sit there and I watch the prices go up and up and up. It's like, God, you can't catch up with it. You can't stay up with the increase in the prices. It just keeps throwing you further and further behind in your plans. Now, I swear that's part of their deal. That's part of what they want. They don't want us to be able to afford any of this stuff. But I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to get off of here and let y'all go. I appreciate you watching. Any input you want to offer, I'm open to it. Any ideas you got, I'm open to it. You know, I'm done. I need help. Oh my, I'm not a religious person, but geez, I need to start praying, I guess. I'm going to go to church Sunday. See if maybe that'll help my luck out a little bit. You know? But hope everybody had a good weekend. Welcome to a new week. Hope stay safe. You know, leave a comment. Say hi. I swear I'm going to get back into this. Don't leave me. Don't drop me off, you know. I still got plenty to do. We'll get back into it. But I appreciate all you guys. You have no idea. You have no idea how much I appreciate everything I've learned from you people. You know, the comments you leave that teach me stuff, the encouragement. I appreciate it. But this is Joe here at the gas station. I'm out, folks.